Hello and welcome to Weekend Investing Daily Bites. Today is 7th October. We are shooting episode number 109 and I'm going to showcase how and why momentum investing actually outperforms the benchmarks. So this question comes to me very frequently, that does momentum investing work only in bull markets, and does it underperform at times, and how does the outperformance come in all types of markets, as I've been saying for the last so many years. Today I will try to dissect last 6 months of trade, in fact last 4 5 years of trade, on one of our key strategies, NNF10, and showcase how the outperformance has happened. But first, let's take a look at the market today. So real estate was on fire. Real estate index up 6% today. I think a lot of good news is coming from many established, prominent real estate players about volume growth in the last many months. Auto segment is another one which was on fire today. Tata Motors, Mahindra reported that they sold something like 25,000 XUV 700 in a few minutes. Consumption stocks more like Titan, Kalyan Jewelers, again on fire with reports of 70-80% growth in that segment. So, it seems like good days are back again in terms of, consumption stories. And with inflation fears remaining intact and increasing, I think there may be a rush towards real estate investing in the coming year. But that is just a guess that I have. Other than these few sectors, most of the sectors were flat, and there was not much of action there. But largely speaking, the Nifty has been yo-yoing in the last 3-4 days with hundreds of points of movement every day, up and down, and that culminated today in a uptrend again, and Nifty closed at 0.82%, with all other broader market indices between 1% and 1.6%. So mid cap and small cap actually did the best today, and that is very, very healthy for the broader based market to be moving up. In line with these moves, weekend investing strategies also moved up. So MIATH2 was up 1.8%, MIATH was up 1.7%, and several other strategies. Most strategies were up 1% or more, with MIMT all capped at the lowest at 0.9%, and NG5050 of course is a dual combo of Nifty and gold. So all is looking good right now. Market is totally in a bull grip. The overseas cues of softening US markets has not dented our performance. Even other emerging markets are not able to do as well as India is doing. So it seems that India is on a different wicket right now, and let's hope that this continues. So today I will talk about how momentum investing outperforms. Now, as you are aware, momentum investing can be done in several different ways, just like you do value investing or any other factor investing. So the primarily two ways that we use are absolute momentum and relative/rotational momentum. In absolute momentum, we measure the momentum in any particular stock relative to itself, and in rotational momentum or relative momentum, we measure momentum within a group of stocks. So in this latter category, it is basically a relativity of which stock has done well over the past so many periods, and that gets ranked and gets selected in your strategy. Whereas in absolute momentum, if the momentum in a particular stock drops, it goes out, and you could be sitting at cash if there's no pick available on this. So we will talk about one of our strategies, which is called NNF10, Nifty Next 50 10. So Nifty Next 50 is an index which comes right after Nifty. So Nifty's top 50 stocks mostly by market cap. And the next 50 market cap stocks are included in the index called Nifty Next 50. This index is also called Nifty Junior. Both of these are same, Nifty Next 50 and Nifty Junior. Now, within these 50 stocks, our strategy MINNF 10 picks 10 stocks based on relative momentum ranking, and it allocates 10% capital to each of them, and it rebalances once a month. So first day of every month we rebalance the weights back to 10%, and we rebalance out the stocks which have not performed and bring in stocks that have performed. It is as simple as that. Now, looking at the last 6 months, we've done a study on April to September 21. We see that within the index, within the Nifty Junior stocks of 50 stocks, these were the performances. Adani Transmission gained 58%, McDowell 55%, Apollo Hospital 54%, Gland Pharma 51%, so on and so forth. There were 10 stocks between 28 and 43%. DLF doing very well here, Havells here. Another 10 stocks between 27% and 16%. UBL, Muthoot Finance, Hind Petro. The next 10 stocks doing 16% to 4%. And the last 10 stocks having no returns in the last 6 months virtually. And some of them actually in the red. Aurobindo Pharma, Yes Bank, Bandhan Bank, Biocon, Lupin, MRF, HDFC, AMC and Adani Green. So what have we seen here? That we have a bunch of stocks which did very well, between 40 and 50%. Then in the middle we have stocks which have done 20, 30, 40%. Then in the third quadrant we have 0 to 20%, and the last quadrant is 0 to minus 20%. So we have all kinds of categories of stocks within this 50 stock framework which were a part of the Nifty Junior. So Nifty Junior performance is based on these 50 stocks. Some were doing very well, some doing averagely, some not doing so well, right? Now if you are able to get 10 stocks out of these which are doing relatively better than the whole group, then the returns on that 10 stock portfolio will be very good compared to Nifty Junior. That is the whole idea. So Nifty MINNF 10 portfolio exactly tries to do that at the beginning of every month it picks the 10 strongest stocks. By strong I mean we have a momentum ranking based on past periods, and we rank all these 50 stocks and pick the strongest ones right now. And at the end of the month we will review that portfolio, and if weaker stocks need to go out we will remove them and stronger stocks need to come in. Another important thing that happens here is that if a stock has gained during the month, the profit gets redistributed to all the 10 stocks at the end of the month. And if a stock has lost during the month and still stays in the portfolio, then the weights are rebalanced again at the end of the month. So it's a very equalizing and distributing sort of a mechanism where you don't have one stock going like several folds and we not booking profit. So this is like partial profit booking in an automated fashion. So within the MINNF 10 strategy, what have we seen is that we got hold of these gainers. These are the top gainers. Now interesting thing to see is that Adani Transmission, while it from point to point it moved out only 57 odd %, but within the strategy it was able to gain 71% because it came down during few months and the weights got added there, and then it went up sharply. So you actually made more money than the actual point to point return. Apollo Hospital, Adani Enterprise, Vedanta, DLF were some of the other gainers. Also you can see that the losers are much smaller in number in terms of percentage losers, and the gainers are much larger. So the idea is that even if your gainers to losers ratio remains 50-50. Every month, let's say 5 stocks are gaining and 5 stocks are losing. But on average, if the 5 stocks which are losing lose small and the 5 stocks which gain make big, then the overall maths will come in your favor. Right? It's also called the casino math. You don't have to be having a 100% success ratio. Even at 50% success ratio, 50% winners can make you much more money than the other 50% losing some small money, and that is acceptable. So you let the winners run and you cut the losers early. So this is a overall schematic of how a 100 rupees invested in the index versus the 100 rupees invested in the strategy would have moved over the last 5.5 years. On the index going from 100 to 226, and on the strategy going from 100 to 296. The CAGR between the difference between the index and the strategy being about from 16% versus 22% on the strategy, and dividends are not included in either of them. So we can see that while this is not a strategy which is giving you phenomenal sort of returns, but for money which is not seeking amazing amount of volatility and returns, this is a great strategy to have. So gradually it will either be in line or slightly outperform the index over time. And you can see here also that when you had the fall in March 2020, the index fell from 150 to 112. So that's almost like maybe like 28% or something like that drop. Whereas the strategy fell from 195 to 153. So maybe like 22%. So on drawdowns, the strategy does better than the index, but on the upside, it also does better than the index. So you get the best of both worlds, and that is why you outperform the index. So while market is going up, it is outperforming. The market is coming down, it is still outperforming, and you combine both these together, you get the outperformance. More data on this. So this is data on the Nifty index. This is data on the strategy. So absolute returns for 5.5 years, 196% here, 125% here. Average daily return is also up by more than 15% relative to the index. Volatility is much lower versus the index. Max drawdown was 41.96% on the index. Here we have 22%. So this is one of the very major reason why the outperformance will happen. Once you are able to reduce the drawdown, the performance on the upside becomes like a multiplier. You fall less and you get up and you go up more because you've fallen less. If you go from 100 to 50, you need 100% gain to come back. But if you only fall from 100 to 80, you only need a 25% gain to go back. So that math works very well here. Okay, in terms of number of days of drawdown, so we've calculated how many percentage of days of the last 5.5 years were there between different categories. So for the index, 1.2% days were spent in a drawdown of more than 30%. So if you span it over 5.5 years, which is approximately maybe like 1200 days, so you spent a good 15 days in a drawdown more than 30%. So that's pretty painful. Whereas in the strategy, you did not spend any time above 30% or above 25%, and you had some time above 20%, very little. But majority of the time was the drawdowns were in the region of 0 to 15%, I would like to say, with some going up to even 20. And here in the index, you spent most of the time between 0 and maybe 25% or even 30%. So what you can say is that the gain to pain ratio is very nice. Even if this very mature strategy, because it is mostly large caps, actually all large caps in nature, the alpha is not so high, in terms of, like, we have a lot of other mid cap and small cap strategies where we have, CAGRs much in excess of 30-40%. But here what is happening is that this is for larger sums of money that can run on this. This is for money which is not looking for very steep drawdowns versus the index, and it returns a better CAGR versus the index. So I hope you are able to see why the outperformance is happening. Sticking with the strength in the market is the one very good strategy to outperform the market, because market is made up of winners, medium or average stocks, and losers. So you need to stick with winners and average stocks at best and ditch the losers. If you are able to do that with any strategy, you will come out winner. That is the bottom line of this all. So you allow the theory of sort of Darwin theory of where you are able to survival of the fittest is there, and you are not attached to any stock, you are not attached to any segment here, any sector, any stock, and you are just doing it very mechanically, where you are allowing the market trends to tell you what to buy and what to sell. So that's exactly what we follow in terms of Baho Bhagwan Che, is basically what to buy, when to buy, how much to buy, and when to sell. These four decisions and rules have to be crystal clear at all times, and as long as you do that, there is no reason why you will not outperform the market. So thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.